Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome back to USTA Florida's Here to Serve podcast. My name is Laura Bowen, and I'm the Executive Director at USTA Florida. We're kicking off the new year with a brand new topic that we've never addressed before. Many of our players and parents have asked us over the years what to look for in a good tennis academy and coach. Today, we came to visit our friends at GTA Academy and talk to Coach Jay Gooding about what they provide here and what advice he would give to parents and players looking to meet their own goals for success and perform at a higher level. I hope you enjoy this conversation with Jay, and don't forget to check USTAFlorida.com/here to serve for all upcoming topics and dates for the podcast this year. Jay, thanks for having us out today.
Yeah, I'm more than welcome. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. We're invading your space. You got some great players out here. I can't think of a better way to kick off our podcast series for January.
Beautiful winter in Florida.
That's right. That's right. So actually, people don't realize how busy our state is, I think, in December and January. Other places kind of shut down. Can you talk a little bit about what you have going on at GTA?
Yeah, end of November, December's always pretty congested and busy here. Just the way the tennis calendar works, and also just being winter in the Northern Hemisphere. So everyone sort of flocks to Florida, just number one for the weather. And historically, it's always been a place where, a lot of people base themselves to train, especially professionals. And so at the Academy, we have a lot of kids home from college that have sort of trained here when they were younger in school. And so they, when they're home for whatever break, summer break, winter break, they'll come back and continue to train. We've got a couple out here now. And also with the pros that are sort of doing their pre-season, their off-season. And it's busy because there's no tournaments on.
Yeah.
So there's no pro events, there's no college tennis going on. And for the most part, less junior tournaments going on. So everyone uses this time to train.
That's right. And then I think we get super busy into January, into February, into March. We start to ramp up our tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't stop. I mean, the tennis is full on the season. It really doesn't stop apart from this couple of weeks.
Yeah, we're kind of gluttons for punishment that way here in Florida. I think it's sort of like we take a little bit of break during Christmas and then we're like, okay, back to it.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about you. You have a partner here, business partner here, and you all have phenomenal experience as coaches. You've coached for USTA, you've coached at the highest level, you've coached pro players. Can you talk a little bit about your experiences as both a player and a coach and kind of what motivated you to go down this path to be more of like a high performance coach?
Yeah, I mean, that's... First of all, I don't like to talk about myself too much, but it's a long-winded answer, but I guess it starts when I was learning tennis. I was fortunate enough that my coach also coached coaches. So, the equivalent of the USPTA or PTR in Australia. So he was in charge of that. So he encouraged me to start coaching from a very young age, even though I was sort of a competitive player myself. And in the back of my mind, it sort of planted a seed in the back of my mind. Even though I was on the tour playing and competing, I sort of always knew I would transition into coaching. It was always there. So I think that in hindsight, it was always planted there. And so I stopped competing in my late 20s and then sort of naturally transitioned into coaching. And I had an academy up in New York, and I spent 6 to 8 years there, and I coached all day, every day, every level, from beginners to ladies to competitive juniors to high school kids to recreation kids to wealthy families to everything. And I invested a long time, and through that I realized where my passion was, which was high performance. And it was sort of also where I got my best results.
Okay.
So it was sort of both. It was my passion, but it was also I was getting obvious results with my coaching, with my players that were in the high performance sort of space. And then I came across the opportunity to join player development with USTA, and I had another 6 years or so there with them, and that was amazing. It was a really, really good time. It was probably the best thing I did for my career was to join the USTA player development. We had some amazing, amazing mentors and older coaches who I learnt a ton from.
It's interesting you mentioned that coaching was something that was put in front of you at a young age, and then you went out and you got experience in all aspects of coaching. When you think about coaches, younger players and coaches today, is that something that you feel like is the initial stepping stone? Say, go out there and coach a lot, because if you pick one lane, you're not really going to know what's out there. That is kind of an interesting perspective that I don't know that we see a whole lot. People might stay in a particular lane or choose one.
Yeah. 100%. I don't think, especially the young coaches. I mean, we get a lot of coaches here who apply and they just want to work with the good players. And I never had that sort of, I don't know what it is, ego.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I have no problem working. You don't have to be a good tennis player, and if you want to learn tennis, I'll help you. Like, and they sort of start there, and my answer to that is, well, whatever player you do have, make them good. Then you're working with a good player.
It's funny you say that, because when we talk about coaches and we have these discussions, sometimes we're like, oh, you have to be a 4-5 player to be a coach. And I say this to my team in our facility management. I'm like, if a 45-year-old woman can come to Florida and has never picked up a racket before and become a 4-5 player, do you not think that we could have a coach and we could teach them to become a better coach? Like, everybody can become better. And sometimes I think we have that fixed mindset of you're either a coach at this level or at this, and you stay there. But I see that as you can develop in so many different areas.
Yeah, you can always, I mean...
And the more you coach, seems like the better you would be at it.
Absolutely. Like, I feel like I'm getting better as a coach every year, without doubt. Just, and I'm fortunate. I'm exposed to great coaches. I talk with great coaches. I'm on the court with great coaches. Not everyone has that exposure and ability to do that, but regardless, it's all scalable. So for sure, there's no reason. I mean, we're asking our players that we coach to improve and work hard. So if we're not doing that, then that really doesn't hold too much substance.
What's the example that you're setting?
Exactly.
So my next question for you is really specific to the competitive environment here in Florida. So when you've been here for a while now, how does the landscape here for competition compare in your mind to what you saw in New York or other places you've been? And maybe what are some of the advantages and even disadvantages of that?
Yeah, I think America in general, I mean, it's a pretty competitive junior landscape. With the college system that you have here in this country, it really is a nice carrot dangled in front of any junior tennis player. So everyone's specializing much earlier now.
Okay.
We see a lot of young kids homeschooled so they can dedicate more time to training, and so that's sort of lifted the level of the baseline level of everyone. And I think in Florida specifically, it's, I mean, historically been the place where the tennis academy life model sort of started. I even knew that in Australia. Like, I was aware of Florida, and I think that sort of if everyone's in an environment where everyone has the same sort of goals, it sort of, pushes everyone. Yeah, it lifts everyone up and pushes them all in the right direction. It's more competitive. So, the standards are a little higher. That doesn't mean, say, for example, when we had our academy in New York, it was any different, because it's super competitive up there too.
Yeah.
Super competitive. But I think people down in Florida have maybe more aspirations to go pro,
Okay.
where in the colder climates, it's access to courts is less because of the weather. It's more expensive because of the limited access, and just has more of a academic base to it. Like it's like I'm doing all of this to go to school.
Yeah.
Where down here, I think, you know, everyone's here training to go to a good school, but I also think they have more pro aspirations as well.
It doesn't surprise me because we have a very sports-oriented culture in Florida, just in general. You know, we have so many professional sports teams here. Not tennis. We do have pro tournaments, but
Yeah.
you sort of come to the state and you realize what a big part sports and athletics plays just in the overall state as a whole. It's kind of part of what we're known for is sport and recreation.
The climate.
Yeah.
It's like Australia, like how I grew up. I mean, this is our Australian winters, the same as this. And I mean, we're forever outside playing sports. Like it's conducive to being outside and playing sport.
Well, that explains why we have more Australians here.
Yeah,
I think.
maybe.
You touched on this a little bit earlier, but, you know, Nick Bollettieri really created the Academy model. You know, he was kind of the originator of that in 1978. And it's kind of interesting to me to see how much that's exploded from that beginning. When you think about that, what do you think made that approach so successful? And what's changed since then that, you know, looks different in the academies today versus what Nick was doing maybe back then?
Well, I think I mean, what he did there was genius. You know, getting the top kids in the country all training in one spot and creating that environment where everyone's pushing each other. And the thing I think that people sort of maybe don't know is that, like, all of those players that he had when he started that academy were like top pros. It's not as if he wasn't, not that he didn't develop players, because absolutely he developed players, but how it all started was he already had good players there. And it just exploded straight away. And the success that he had, like, you know, I mean, I don't have to talk about the players that were there and the world number ones and Grand Slams and all of that. I mean, it sort of, but it's interesting now that now people think, okay, that's how I become a pro, is go to an academy. That's how I get to college. I've got to go to an academy. And I don't necessarily agree with that, because one thing, or, you know, we can talk about Nadal Academy, Moratoglu Academy, Bollettieri's, Saddlebrook, that originally was Hopman's Academy. So when you look at the pros, just speaking about the pros, when you look at the pros coming out of those academies, they train at the academy, but they're not in the academy. So if you go to IMG right now and you see Denis Shapovalov, I'm just throwing out a name there, and he's training there with his own coach, own physio, own trainer, and he'll have a couple hitting partners from the academy. Right. Then the academy has 100 kids.
Right.
They're not on that same path. Right. So, yeah, but the pro came out of IMG. Yes, that's where he trains, but he wasn't part of the academy.
Right.
Right. So that's also something very interesting people don't always understand.
Yeah.
They just think they're in the academy training.
Yeah. I think they have that misperception about the national campus too.
Correct.
They think that, oh, like the players live there and like these pro players. And like, no, that's not really how that works.
Yeah.
Right? That's what happens there.
And listen, if you want to be a pro, I mean, you need your team. You need your own team. You're probably not going to do it in an academy. You may start in a group setting.
Right.
And then you may stand out or excel. And then by virtue of that, you sort of start forming your own team. But that being said, not everyone wants to go pro. So the academies can be super, super helpful to achieve your dreams of going to college. And I think that, you know, absolutely can supplement all of those desired dreams and goals as a tennis player.
Do you think there's something in that? This is the discipline that comes with an academy of you're here you're making a commitment. which is going to be necessary when you go to college or, at a high level or you play the pro, is that this is not just I'm going to show up a couple times a week, right? This is a commitment that I'm making, and it's more than just I'm coming out to play tennis and I go back to my regular life. It becomes integrated into your life.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. The specialization so early now is making the level so much higher. Yeah. Like you want to go to a top D1 school, I mean, you've got to go all in. Like, you got to train like a professional.
Yeah.
Like, there's no separation anymore.
It was interesting. We just had our junior team tennis sectional. Those 10-year-olds out there, like, we couldn't get over how good they were. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy to me. To be like, at 10, you're that good at the sports.
I know.
We kind of see it showing up in our programs as well.
Yeah, for sure. I have no doubt.
So we did a little research on academies in Florida. I don't know if this will surprise you or not, but there's 115.
Yeah, I wouldn't have picked that many.
There's a lot. Now, that runs the gamut, right? You might have an academy being run by someone with great experience as a coach that's using a couple of courts at a public tennis center, and then you're going to have all the way up to like the IMG, which is its own beast in and of itself. Why do you think these training centers are so integral to the overall tennis ecosystem? I think a lot about that. I think about if it went away tomorrow, how would that impact tennis? What's your view on that, and how it does or doesn't relate to everything from grassroots up to the events we host?
Well, I'm not educated enough to know how one thing affects another in the tennis ecosystem like that, but I think it's common sense. Like, if you've got a tennis academy, for example, like here, we have 6 courts, it's small, it's intimate, and we've got good quality players playing here. So when our after-school kids come, and they may play 1 day a week, 1 hour a week here, and they see these kids training, it's natural to go, oh, I want to play like that. And they go home and tell the parents, and they add another day, and now they come in 2 days. And and then they're telling their friends, or then they go make the high school team or junior varsity team or whatever. And then like, oh, where'd you learn? And then, it's over there. So I have zero doubt that it boosts the grassroots level.
Yeah. That's it. And that's a really interesting perspective that I don't work in the academy space, but certainly I've always been curious about that is, do those kids come who are younger and that they might have the opportunity to try out for their high school team, and this becomes I can see people that inspire me to actually work hard and do that. And it's really nice to hear that there is a connecting point there across particularly the youth space.
Absolutely. I mean, just the way the world is now, I mean, to see someone commit and dedicate themselves to their chosen passion, I mean, of course that's inspiring. Like, you'd probably, it's becoming less and less probably, just generally speaking, with teenage kids or youth.
Well, and you also mentioned the college piece, which is very important. Having college tennis, I think, is such an important part. We have a lot of colleges in Florida. Yeah. But it's another thing we have a lot of here, which is a lot of colleges. No,
the college system here is unbelievable. What that's done for the tennis, for the junior tennis is, I think without that, it wouldn't look like this.
And we're very, very lucky. I know a lot of programs sort of stopped when COVID happened, and here we didn't experience that same decline. And I thought about that, and I thought about, is that because we have such a vibrant ecosystem here that there's demand for those programs, like there's coaches that are willing to coach them. But I think, again, what you're doing with the students here and the kids here to create that pathway where they see, oh, okay, like this is where I could go from here. And if I want to stay in Florida, I don't really have to go that far because we have really vibrant college programs here.
Yep.
Okay. This is a parent question. You are a parent of 2 wonderful young girls who grew up playing tennis with you. So when parents that maybe don't have the background and experience that you do are looking for that higher level of training, what should they pay attention to when they're interviewing their coaches or researching academies?
I would say, number one, just what are the credentials of the coaching staff?
Okay.
Okay. I do find in this in the tennis world, there's a lot of people who say they coach people, which actually isn't the fact.
Okay.
Yeah. If I've heard the amount of coaches that say they've coached Serena Williams,
Okay.
it is just they may have been on court with her one day, and now that they write down that I coach Serena, and that's just not true.
Okay.
So that I would vet the coaching staff.
How do they do that? So they're a parent, they're not super connected. What are some of the ways they might be able to verify?
Tough. Ask questions, speak with other families that have kids in the academy, and just chat with the coaching staff. Like, really talk with them, see what their philosophy's like. I think the number one question that I get is, what players do you have training there?
Okay.
Do you have anyone good enough to hit with my son or daughter? That's the question. It's the wrong question.
Okay.
Because why? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, why do you need to hit with someone who's good or better than you? Because if that's all it's about, it would be so easy to be good. I would just go hire someone better than me and I would hit that with them every day. Right. So they don't care. In my experience, it seems like the majority of the parents who have kids who want to join academies, they don't care what the coaching staff's like. They just care how good the kid is that I'm going to be on court with. When that kid is not going to make your kid good, the coach is going to make your kid good. The staff is going to make your kid reach their dreams. And I think that understanding that would solve a lot of stress, anxiety, and heartache down the road.
It's interesting you say that, because when Mary Jo was at our anniversary event last year, one of the things she said was when she started to get good and her parents wanted to know how good she was, they took her to hit with our legendary coach and said, hey, would you take a look at her and see how good she is? And, his comment was, she has potential, but she needs to go out and play a lot. Like, she needs to go play and probably lose a lot. And it was kind of an interesting window into that assumption of like, oh, the assumption is that she got this, powerful coach, and they, and that did happen, right? But it was a different window into that. And I think Marty's dad said the same thing, is that it was this philosophy as a parent of like, I don't know enough, but I need my child to develop what are the best pathways for that. And to me, that struck me more as the right question to ask.
Yeah.
And what I would ask is to say, it seems like there's potential here. What's your recommendation for my child to develop? And a good coach would know how to assess that and make those recommendations.
Absolutely. It's the bottom line is, why is your kid coming to this academy? Why are they getting tennis lessons? Because they're not good enough yet. They need to get better. And if your focus is to improve, then that gets you to where you want to go. Okay, you want to win more matches, or you want to improve your ranking, you want to improve your UTR. Okay, win more. How do I win more? Well, I got to become a better tennis player. Okay, it really is that simple. It's hard to do. It takes time. You need a lot of patience and hard work and dedication. But the basic philosophy of it is that simple. Now, the person down the other end of the court is not going to make you good. They don't care about you. It's the coach that is going to dedicate the time to improve this or this, whatever they need to do to improve. And if the player can be more concerned about what they need to work on, okay, I could use anyone down the other end of the court to improve. Why do pros practice with people less than them? It's because they've got their own things they're working on. They're just going to use that
person.
Right. That's why they're good, because they think like that. The ones that will always have an excuse, I didn't have anyone good enough to play with, that's why, I need a different place, because, no, that's just taking zero responsibility, zero accountability.
Good life lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
You win or lose. Like, why did you win or lose? It had nothing to do with the competition.
Exactly.
It's interesting.
Yeah. No, but that's a lifetime of coaching and understanding and learning that. And, part of my job as a coach is also to educate the parents who don't have experience to understand that,
I have a follow-up question to that. Sometimes we'll hear from parents that, they like the coach, they ask the right questions, but they didn't see the improvement in the student. And I thought about that as somebody who, doesn't have kids, but I thought, wow, what are the things I would look for? What is the right timeline to see improvement? Like, can you talk a little bit about that? As my student comes to you, I agree with everything you're doing. What are some of the things I should look for or ask my child about their experience that would tell me, oh, okay, this is actually, accomplishing whatever it is that we set as our goals?
Yeah. I mean, so part of how our program's set up, we have a player development program, which is an annual program. So it's 12 months. And just a small snippet into how we break that up into quarters. So we do 3 months, and we have 1 or 2 specific areas of focus that the kid's going to work on for 3 months. Now, I can guarantee you'll see some improvement in those 2 areas of focus within 3 months. How much? Depends on a million things. Okay? But if we get super specific on what we're working on, we will improve. Now, my tennis will improve. My forehand's improved. My serve's improved. But that doesn't mean when you go and see me play on the weekend at a tournament, you're going to see that executed very well. So the results don't always move in the same line as my improvement in my tennis mechanics. And that's where parents also get a little frustrated because they say, my kid practiced for 3 months here and he hasn't won a match. That doesn't mean he didn't get better. You need patience.
Yeah.
A lot of patience. And so what ends up happening is that, it didn't win, so they stop the process. And then they'll go to another place. Or they go, this isn't working, we need to go to this coach over here. And now the kids was on the right path, they stopped the process, and now they started back at zero again. And that's just going to continue.
Yeah.
And the families that can understand that, that's why we have an annual program, because I can promise you, we'll take video footage of a kid that arrives on day 1, and in 12 months, I will guarantee that the kid's better. I'm not going to guarantee their results, but I will guarantee that they are better. And we can sort of put it on paper and sort of prove those improvements.
I love that. I love that idea of like, we're going to videotape them. We're going to actually be accountable, right, for those. It's not just someone watching and saying, oh, well, like I didn't see it.
Or what their ranking is.
Right.
Yeah. Because it also depends on what the goal is. Not everyone's goal is the same.
True.
So therefore your expectations can't be the same.
Right.
You go to a tournament on the weekend and my kid's goal is to make the high school team and your opponent's goal is to be a professional. Okay, there's going to be a completely different level of determination and passion and commitment.
Yeah.
They're probably spending more hours on the court. Doesn't mean I'm a bad tennis player.
Right.
I'm just comparing apples to oranges.
And even just within the tournament space, we've done some podcasts on the ranking points and how that works. And I think sometimes that idea of I'm going to chase the points and the ranking is like, I'll play the lower level tournaments because I know my child can win. That goes back to the Mary Jo example of like, but if you're just staying at this level because you want to earn the points, okay, you'll earn the points, but you're not actually improving. Anytime you try to level up, you're going to end up with a poor experience, right?
Yeah.
So you're setting an expectation of success means winning.
Yeah.
Versus success is improvement.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's something we say here. We preach that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's important for, there might be people that, to your point, that to them, the culture they want is, I want to get the most points. Great. This might not be a fit for you. We're not on the same goal sheet.
Yeah. And when parents ask or they inquire about our academy and they say, okay, well, who are they going to be hitting with? Well, that if you want a hitting partner or a place to just hit with good players, this is not it. No, we're here to coach you. We're here to improve your tennis. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, sort of
So it goes from
Put
there.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
We put that out at the very front, so then there's no issues further down the track.
That's awesome. So my last question, Jay, just any other advice you would give, not just to parents, but there might be players watching this that are aspiring to different levels of success. What kind of advice would you share with them in terms of navigating their future, or maybe even what to look for when they're either at an academy today or looking for that in the future?
Yeah. I think one sort of trend or trait that I've seen working with good competitive juniors who are very talented, physically able, great tennis players is that they don't dream big enough. It seems to be college is it.
Interesting.
And if I ask them the question, would you ever want to be a pro? And they go, yeah. And it's like, but they'll never dream to be a pro. It's just to get to college. And if you realized how good you were, and I had an example where I worked with a young player many years ago. She was a 11, 12-year-old girl, number one in the country, very, very good. She could have played D1 college then.
Wow.
And I was sort of very surprised, like how I grew up, there is no college tennis. So it's like, if I'm passionate about tennis and I'm investing hours and days and months and years to play this game, I want to go pro. And I couldn't wrap my head around that. And it just seems to be a very common thing here. And so I guess my advice would be just dream bigger. Yeah, because you're good. Like, and when I'm saying you're good, I'm talking about the good competitive juniors here. Like, you got no problem. You're 14. You're going to get into college. Trust me. Even if you play part-time between now and then, you're good enough to get into college.
Do you think?
And I think their vision or perception is skewed with that.
Do you think that's part of the overall generations we see? I mean, we're the same age, and so I think about when I grew up is it was very different. You left your house earlier, like I was 17 and I was gone. You know, I was like, I want to get out, I want to go to college, and now you just see that shifting to like this environment of home. I'm not judging it. It's just generationally different across the board. Do you think that's part of it?
I think 100%. It just breeds a little insecurity. Yeah. I think I see a lot of lack of courage to take risk. And I'm talking on the tennis court, but I'm sure it would overflow into daily life. Just having the courage or the self-belief that they can do it.
Yeah.
And so they're always protecting what they've already achieved, as opposed to like reaching out in front of them and jumping.
I'm going to lose this if I go here. Yeah, that's a great
And so anyway, that would be my advice. And that's something I encourage the kids, like dream big, like, go to school.
Yeah.
But like, go to school and be number one in school. Yeah. Go to school and win NCAAs. Go to school and then transition into a pro. Yeah. Like continue. You love it. You've invested your whole life into tennis. Like, don't put a ceiling over it.
I love that. We were just with some college students and we had them come in and do some like business development and AI tools and everything. And just over a course of 6 days for them to come in and they told us, they said, we didn't think we'd actually be able to build anything. And then at the end, they're like, we can't believe what we just did. And so some of it's just
it's
hearing from people, you can do this. And we're going to put you in an environment that challenges you to do that. And hopefully what happens after that is they gain that courage to go out there. So
yeah, absolutely. And it's sort of like, that's growing up in Australia when I first came here, that's what I thought America was. Like, that's the lure of America. Like, you can do anything. Like, that's the beautiful part of this country. And so as I spent more and more time here, it's sort of changed a little bit, where they're sort of a little more not afraid. They're afraid to take those risks and take on those massive goals.
Well, that's a great point to end on. And I appreciate you making it. And hopefully the people that are watching, whether you're a parent, a player, no matter what age you are, just get out there, get a great coach, and then take some risks on the court and off the court, because that's kind of where the magic happens. And hopefully we'll see more of that.
Yeah, it's more fun too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Dave.
No, you're welcome. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. That's all for this edition of the Here to Serve podcast. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Jay. Our next podcast is also going to be an exciting one. We're going to broadcast live from Crandon Park in Miami. Don't forget, check USTAFlorida.com for all upcoming podcast topics and dates, and I'll see you next time in Miami.